The 1970s and the 1980s gave us some of the most memorable faces in British television history. Every week, millions of us welcomed these stars into our homes. They made us laugh, entertained our children, and become a huge part of British popular culture. But television fame can be unpredictable. Some stars continued to dominate our screens, while others slowly disappeared from the spotlight. So, whatever happened to these familiar faces? Where did their careers take them, and what are they doing today? Let's look back at 10 British TV stars we all remember. First up is one of the most recognisable comedy stars of the 1980s, Su Pollard. Sue became a household name playing Peggy in BBC sitcom Hi-de-Hi. Set in the fictional Maplin's holiday camp, the show became one of Britain's biggest comedies, attracting millions of viewers every week. Peggy was desperate to become a yellowcoat, and Sue's unique voice, energy and unforgettable personality made her one of the show's most popular characters.
Oh, don't do that, I'll do myself a mischief.
What are you doing sitting down? You've got 300 salaries to clean up before lunch.
I don't want you blowing when you should be sucking. Suck, don't blow.
Suck, don't blow.
After Hi-de-Hi ended in 1988, Sue continued working with comedy legends David Croft and Jimmy Perry, appearing in You Rang My Lord, alongside Paul Shane and Geoffrey Holland. She also appeared in shows including Doctors and Benidorm, while enjoying a successful theatre career in musicals such as Annie and Godspell. Today, Sue continues to perform and make appearances celebrating her long career in entertainment. She regularly appears in theatre events and nostalgia shows, and remains one of the most loved faces in the golden age of British comedy.
It's dead good, isn't it?
Next is Jimmy Now, the man who became famous as Oz in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. The ITV drama followed a group of British builders who travelled abroad looking for work and quickly became one of the most popular shows of the decade. Oz was tough, funny and full of confidence. And Jimmy Now became one of the biggest stars on TV. But Jimmy was not just an actor. He starred in his own crime drama, Spender. Then wrote and starred in the BBC drama Crocodile Shoes, whose title song became a top 5 hit for him, before topping the charts outright with his #1 single, Ain't No Doubt. In later years, Jimmy stepped away from regular TV work and focused more on writing music and spending time away from the spotlight. Although he makes occasional appearances, fans still remember him as Oz, one of Britain's TV's most iconic characters.
Shut your mouth, twat!
For a generation of children growing up in the 1980s, Sarah Greene was one of the most familiar faces on TV. She joined Blue Peter in 1980 and became one of the programme's most popular presenters. She travelled the world, introduced viewers to animals and became a trusted face for millions of children. But her biggest success came on Saturday mornings with Going Live, alongside Philip Schofield. The show became essential weekend viewing, mixing celebrity guests, music and entertainment. Sarah later stepped away from regular presenting, but has remained involved in broadcasting and charity work. She has returned to TV for documentaries and nostalgia programmes, looking back at the shows that made her famous. For many viewers, she remains one of the most defining faces of the 1980s children's TV.
Martin, your secret's safe with me, don't you worry.
Next is Leslie Ash, one of Britain's most recognisable actresses from the 1980s and the 1990s. Leslie first became famous on the big screen, appearing in the classic 1979 film Quadrophenia, where she played Steph alongside Phil Daniels, and the Who's soundtrack became part of British youth culture. She soon became a familiar face on TV, appearing in ITV sitcom Home to Roost and the action series Cat's Eyes. But it was in the 1990s that she became known to a whole new audience. Leslie played Deborah in Men Behaving Badly, the hugely popular sitcom starring Martin Clunes and Neil Morrissey. The show became one of the biggest comedies of the decade, capturing the lives of two flatmates whose behaviour was often anything but mature. However, Leslie's career was affected after she suffered serious injuries following complications from a hospital stay in 2004. Leslie later returned to acting, including appearances in Holby City, and has spoken about rebuilding her life after her health problems. Although she's not been on TV as often as she once was, she remains remembered for some of Britain's most popular films and sitcoms.
Knickers, Tony.
Few programmes captured the chaos of the 1980s comedy quite like The Young Ones. And at the centre of that madness was Nigel Planer as Neil, the long-haired, peace-loving student who was constantly bullied by his housemates. The show completely changed British comedy, mixing surreal humour, music and outrageous characters. But Nigel's career went far beyond The Young Ones. He appeared in Blackadder and starred alongside Rick Mel and Adrian Edmondson in Filthy Rich and Cat Flap. He also became a successful theatre performer, writer and musician. Many fans will remember his comedy single Holding My Shoe, released in character as Neil.
What now? I looked in the sky where an elephant's eye was looking at me.
Nigel has continued working as an actor, writer and performer. He has appeared on stage, narrated audiobooks, written books and occasionally returned to TV. While he has played many different characters, for an entire generation he will always be Neil from The Young Ones.
Would you like a cup of herbal tea?
Jan Francis was one of the biggest TV stars of the 1980s. She became a household name playing Penny Warrender in Just Good Friends alongside Paul Nicholas. The BBC sitcom followed two people who unexpectedly met again after years apart and become one of the most popular comedies of the decade. The series was such a success, it even won a BAFTA for Best Comedy Series. Jan was also a talented drama actress. She appeared in dramas including Secret Army and The Good Companions, and later co-starred with Dennis Waterman in the popular ITV drama Stay Lucky. Jan continued acting in TV and theatre, although she became less visible on our screens compared to the 1980s peak. She has appeared at television retrospectives and fan events celebrating the classic shows that made her famous. For many viewers, she remains one of the unforgettable faces of 1980s TV.
Oh, I can't stand anything like that. Needles and injections.
Oh, there was no discomfort.
But didn't you feel a prick?
Well, I felt a bit foolish.
For millions of children, Michaela Strachan was the person who made wildlife exciting. She became famous presenting the Really Wild Show, teaching a generation about animals, nature and conservation. Her enthusiasm made the programme a huge success, and she became one of children's TV's biggest stars. Before that, she made her name presenting Saturday morning favourite The Wide Awake Club alongside Timmy Mallet and the pop show The Hitman and Her. Michaela later moved to South Africa, where she continued her passion for wildlife. She has presented nature programmes and remains heavily involved in conservation work. Although she lives a quieter life away from mainstream television, she is still remembered by millions who grew up watching The Really Wild Show.
I got the impression you weren't entirely satisfied by Blackcock, Michaela.
Listen, I thoroughly enjoyed my Blackcock experience.
When EastEnders launched in 1985, it introduced viewers to a cast of characters who would become TV's legends. One of those original residents of Albert Square was Lofty Holloway, played by Tom Watt. Lofty was kind-hearted, honest and sometimes painfully shy. While many of Walford's residents found themselves caught up in dramatic storylines, Lofty's gentle personality made him one of the soap's most likeable characters. His relationship with Michelle Fowler was one of the programme's biggest early storylines, and Tom quickly became one of the most recognisable faces on British TV. After leaving EastEnders in 1988, Tom chose not to chase the same level of TV fame. Instead, he built a successful career as a writer, broadcaster and football journalist.
Writer, filmmaker, actor, journalist, broadcaster, sort of anything I can do to nick a living, really.
He has written several books and has worked extensively in sports broadcasting, particularly covering football. Today, Tom continues writing and broadcasting and contributes to football media and podcasts. While he occasionally appears at EastEnders reunions and TV nostalgia events, he has largely enjoyed a successful career away from acting. For millions of viewers, though, he'll always be remembered as Lofty.
Remember me?
Long before she became a familiar face on British TV, Liza Goddard was already building an impressive acting career. Born in England, but raised for a time in Australia. She first found fame as a teenager, Clancy Merrick, in the hugely popular children's series Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. The show became an international success, introducing Liza to audiences around the world. After returning to Britain, her TV career went from strength to strength. During the 70s and 80s, she became one of the country's busiest actresses, appearing in a wide variety of comedy and drama series. Many viewers will remember her from Bergerac. Younger audiences came to know her as the caring mum Helen Jessup in the much-loved children's series Wolf, where a young boy mysteriously transforms into a dog. She also starred in the sitcom Roll Over Beethoven, opposite Nigel Planer, become a familiar face as a team captain in the charades game Give Us a Clue, and made guest appearances in numerous popular dramas and sitcoms. Liza has never really stopped acting. Although she appears less frequently on mainstream TV today, she has continued performing on stage, touring the country in theatre productions, and taking on occasional TV roles. She also supports several charities and regularly attends classic television conventions where fans still queue to meet one of Britain's most enduring television stars. More than 60 years after beginning her acting career, Liza Goddard remains a familiar and much-loved face.
How on earth do you know all those things?
Our final star is someone who helped redefine British comedy. Mel Smith first came to national attention in the late 1970s. But it was not the 9 o'clock news that made him a real household name. Alongside Rowan Atkinson, Pamela Anderson and Griff Rhys-Jones, Mel became part of one of the most influential comedy shows ever produced by the BBC. The series poked fun at politics, current affairs and everyday life, inspiring a whole new generation of comedians. Following that success, Mel teamed up with Griff Rhys-Jones to create Alas Smith and Jones, famous for its hilarious head-to-head conversations over a pint in the pub. Their chemistry made them one of Britain's favourite comedy partnerships throughout the 1980s and the 1990s. But Mel's talents extended far beyond performing. He co-founded Talkback Productions, the company behind some of Britain's biggest comedy programmes, helping bring shows like Alan Partridge, The Ali G Show and many others to our screens. He also directed films, including the 1997 comedy Bean starring Rowan Atkinson. Sadly, Mel Smith passed away in July 2013 at the age of 60 following a heart attack. His death was met with tributes from friends, colleagues and fans across the entertainment industry, all recognising the enormous contribution he made to British comedy. Although he's no longer with us, his sketches, performances and productions continue to entertain audiences today, ensuring his legacy lives on.
Good evening. This is an appeal to the public at large.
Looking back, it's incredible just how many memories these stars created. They made us laugh, inspired us, entertained us and become part of our weekly routines. Some continued successful careers behind the scenes. Others found new passions away from TV, and a few chose a quieter life after years in the spotlight. One thing they all have in common is they all helped shape what many people still consider to be the golden age of British television. So which of these stars surprised you the most? Was there someone you hadn't thought about in years? Or is there another classic TV star you'd like us to feature in a future episode? Let us know in the comments below. We always enjoy reading your memories and suggestions. If you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please give the video a like, subscribe to Back to the Box and join us next time as we celebrate more of the programmes and personalities that made British television so special.